On a cool evening in March 2025, I sat in my small apartment in Boston. Clock had just struck 8, but the day's exhaustion weighed on my shoulders like tons. I'm Ada, 42, a 20-year veteran analyst at Reynolds Carter Consulting. With a coffee mug in hand, I was at the kitchen table, the faint hum of the fridge the only sound in the house. My phone sat on the table's edge, screen dark, waiting for me. Today, I'd finished an email from my boss, Michael Callahan, another last-minute task, polishing a report for him. "Ada, I need this by Monday," he'd said, that arrogant tone I'd heard for 2 decades. I'd gritted my teeth and said, "Sure, Michael," as always. I started at Reynolds Carter at 22, fresh out of college, eyes bright, ambitious. Michael was in his early 30s then, a rising star in sales. In my first years, he guided me, smiling at my reports, saying, "Ada, you'll take this company places." Foolishly, I believed him. Years passed, I became an analyst, he a partner. Guidance turned to demands. I spent weekends fixing his mistakes, covering his lies for clients. Conferences, when he drank too much, I'd say, "Michael's tired," defending him. I missed my sister's kids' birthdays, canceled vacations, all for him, for the company. My apartment's kitchen was small, peeling white cabinets, a few dishes on the counter. Through the window, I could see Boston's lights, but the view didn't comfort me. Today, Michael had walked into a client meeting with my report, of course. No thanks afterward, just an email. "Ada, add more data next time." More data. 20 years and he still wanted more. A pang stirred inside, fatigue, disappointment, I couldn't tell. "Worth it," I whispered to myself, but no answer came. My phone buzzed, a message. From Ethan, the 24-year-old analyst I'd taken under my wing 3 years ago. "Ada, you should see this," it read. Ethan was quiet but sharp. He noticed the chaos at work. Attached was a video, nothing else. "What's this?" I muttered, setting the mug down and picking up the phone. I hit play and the screen flickered to life. Shaky footage, the company's annual staff party last week. Michael stood in the middle, gray suit wrinkled, whiskey glass gleaming, his baritone voice cutting through the noise. "Ada's a worthless idiot," he said, a smug grin splitting his face. "We'll ditch her in a month, she won't even see it coming." Crowd, my coworkers, people I'd shared coffee with, worked late with, reacted. Some laughed nervously, others looked away. No one said a word to defend me. The 30-second clip looped before I could stop it. My chest tightened, a sharp, acidic burn rose in my throat. 20 years flashed before me, spreadsheets, sleepless nights, covering Michael's blunders. Worthless idiot, huh? I'd done everything for him, written his reports, charmed his clients, saved his reputation. And this was my reward? A punchline for a laughing room? I played it again, hands trembling, not from fear but rage. "She won't even see it coming," he'd said, arrogance dripping from every syllable. He was wrong, so wrong. That moment, a spark ignited inside. Cold, clear, resolute. Michael thought me naive, too dumb to fight back, a loyal dog. He was mistaken. This video wasn't just my betrayal, it was the match to burn his house down. I left my coffee on the table, the kitchen shadows closing in, a voice rising within. "You'll see, Michael." That night, I didn't sleep, I started planning. On that cold March 2025 evening, I sat at my kitchen table in my Boston apartment, hands still trembling. My phone lay before me, screen dark, but Michael Callahan's voice echoed in my head. "Ada's a worthless idiot. We'll ditch her in a month, she won't even see it coming." The video from Ethan, a 30-second dagger, stabbed deeper each time I watched. I hit play a third time, the image flickering to life. Michael, in his wrinkled gray suit, stood at the company party, waving his whiskey glass, grinning. Crowd, my co-workers of years, laughed, glanced away. No one spoke up. No one. My mug sat cold on the table, the coffee's scent turning my stomach. 20 years at Reynolds Carter Consulting, spreadsheets, sleepless nights, fixing Michael's messes, reduced to nothing. My chest tightened, breathing grew hard. Worthless idiot, huh? I'd done everything for him, written his reports, fed clients his lies, hid his drunken rants. I'd missed my sister's kids' birthdays, canceled plans, always for him. And this? A joke, a punchline served to a room of laughter? I tossed the phone down, the screen fading. My apartment's kitchen was dark, silent, the fridge's hum my only solace. How? I whispered to myself. How was I so blind? I'd been loyal to Michael, a dog, running to every command, cleaning every mess. I'd burned myself out for his success, and he'd toss me out in a month, mocking me. A burn rose inside, up to my throat, acidic, searing. Rage? Shame? I couldn't tell, but I couldn't stop it. I stood, legs shaky. I walked to the window, stared at Boston's lights, blurry, my eyes wet. Ethan, I thought. He'd sent the video, 24, quiet, sharp-eyed. I'd mentored him 3 years ago, taught him reports, warned him about Michael's whims. Ada, be careful, he'd said once, eyes serious. I hadn't listened. But now? Ethan had warned me, maybe he'd seen Michael's mask first. I returned to my phone, reread his message. Ada, you should see this. Why'd he send it? Pity, loyalty, or something else? I didn't reply. What could I say? Thanks, Ethan, you ruined my life? But he hadn't, Michael had. I opened the video again, listened. His arrogance dripped from every word. She won't even see it coming. My hands clenched, nails digging into my palms. He was wrong, I'd see everything, and he'd learn how wrong he was. That moment, as the kitchen shadows closed in, something shifted inside. Rage, yes, but beneath it, something else. Cold, clear, stubborn spark. Resolve. Michael thought me naive, too dumb to fight, a loyal puppet. But this video had slapped his arrogance in my face and handed me a weapon. Worthless idiot, I said to myself, voice shaky but sharp. We'll see who's the idiot, Michael. I moved to the living room, sank into my worn leather couch. Hands on my knees, eyes fixed on the ceiling. 20 years, late nights, canceled plans, biting my tongue when he took credit. I'd cleaned up while he shone for clients. And he'd turned me into a joke. Worthless, he'd said. But who was worthless, him or me? A war sparked inside, shame, rage, and a plan taking shape. I didn't sleep that night. My bedroom filled with shadows, the ceiling a blank slate for my racing mind. In sweats, I lay there, phone on the nightstand like a live wire I couldn't touch. Michael's voice looped in my skull, each word a splinter under my skin. But the pain morphed into power. Every report I'd rewritten, every client I'd charmed while he floundered, I'd made him look good. And now? He'd given me the match to burn him down. You'll see, Michael, I thought. Watching my betrayal, I was planning his ruin. That sleepless night in March 2025, sleep was a stranger in my Boston apartment. The hours crept past midnight, but my eyes stayed open, fixed on the ceiling. Michael Callahan's voice. Ada's a worthless idiot. We'll ditch her in a month, spun in my head, each word a needle piercing deeper. The video from Ethan sat on my nightstand phone, but I couldn't play it again. I'd moved from the living room couch to my bedroom, lying in sweats. But peace eluded me, only shadows and an inner storm. My chest tightened, breathing a struggle. 20 years, I'd given everything to Reynolds Carter Consulting. Covered Michael's blunders, polished his reports, spun lies for clients. I'd missed my sister's kids' birthdays, hung up with Ada's gotta work this weekend. All for him, his success. And now? Worthless idiot. The words lodged in my throat, burning like acid. My hands gripped the blanket, nails digging in, as if I could control something. Street lamp light seeped through the window, painting my room a faint gray. How was I so blind? I whispered, voice trembling. I'd been loyal to Michael, a fool, rushing to every order, fixing every crisis. His rare thanks, Ada, had been enough. I'd torn myself apart for those 2 words. But that video had shattered it all. My coworkers' laughter rang in my ears, people I'd shared coffee with, worked late with. None defended me. None. I stood, legs weak. I grabbed a glass of water from the kitchen but couldn't drink. My hand shook, the glass tipped, water pooling on the floor. A mess like me. Worthless, I said to myself, echoing Michael's taunt. But was I? For 20 years, I'd stood in his shadow, building his successes, my reports, my fixes, my lies. He'd shone while I scrubbed his filth. And he'd toss me out in a month, mocking me. Tears slid down my cheeks, but I didn't wipe them. I stumbled back to the living room, collapsed on the couch. I picked up my phone, stared at Ethan's message. Ada, you should see this. Why'd he send it? Pity? Duty? I considered replying, Why, Ethan? Why now? But my fingers froze. It wasn't his fault, Michael's was. I played the video again. She won't even see it coming. Rage knotted my stomach, but beneath it, something broken, helpless. What did I do? I asked aloud, voice echoing. 20 years of loyalty, covering his errors, enabling his victories. I'd softened his drunken conference rants, told clients, Michael's a great leader. And this was my reward? A joke, a humiliation? A void opened inside, shame, rage, and deep exhaustion. Worth it, I whispered, but no answer, just silence and the fridge's hum. I didn't sleep. Back in my bedroom, I lay down, eyes tracing ceiling cracks. Michael's face spun in my mind, that smug grin, his whiskey-waving hand. My coworkers' nervous laughs, averted eyes, all knives. Worthless idiot, I said, voice fragile. But who was the idiot? Me for believing his arrogance, or him for thinking me a puppet? Something stirred, rage, yes, but a spark beneath. Cold, sharp, growing. You're wrong, Michael, I thought. My collapse was my awakening start, and he didn't know it yet. That sleepless night in March 2025 was a turning point in my Boston apartment. Hours ticked toward dawn, bedroom shadows closing in, but my eyes stayed open. Michael Callahan's voice, Ada's a worthless idiot, looped in my head, each word a dagger. Finn's video sat on my nightstand phone, a silent snake. In sweats, I lay there, but sleep didn't come, only rage, shame, and a forming resolve. My collapse had sparked something, cold, clear, sharp. Michael thought me a puppet, but he was wrong. His mistake would be his end. As the first gray light slipped through the blinds, I stood. Legs weak, but a fire burned inside. I went to the kitchen, started the coffee maker, my routine, but with new purpose. Worthless idiot, I muttered, mocking Michael's words. Who was the idiot, him or me? For 20 years, I'd built his successes, my reports, my fixes. He'd shone while I cleaned. And now? He'd handed me the match to burn him down. I sat at the table, sipping coffee, and grabbed my phone. Ethan's message. Ada, you should see this. Why'd he send it? Pity? Duty? Thanks, Ethan, I mumbled, but didn't reply, not yet. I needed a plan. Michael would ditch me in a month. I wouldn't give him a month. My eyes caught a coffee stain on the table, and my mind wove threads, tight, deliberate, sharp enough to cut. 20 years at Reynolds and Carter, I knew Michael's every weakness. His blunders I'd covered, drunken conference rants, empty client promises, all etched in my memory. Where do I start? I said aloud, voice echoing. I opened my laptop, scanned old company files. Michael's shady deals, dodgy contracts, hidden complaints, even a faked invoice I'd fixed. I'd buried them, loyalty, stupidity. Now, they'd be my weapons. As my coffee cooled, I took notes, every detail, every mistake listed. An email where he'd failed a client promise, a recording of him blaming the team, all hoarded. "She won't even see it coming," he'd said. I laughed, dry, bitter. "You won't see, Michael." My plan formed. Ruin his reputation, turn the company against him, send him out before he could me. But I'd be careful, every move calculated, every step hidden. Then Ethan crossed my mind. He'd sent the video, maybe an ally. He'd noticed the chaos, quietly rebelled against Michael's whims. Should I trust him? I asked, tapping my pen on the table. Risky, but I couldn't do it alone. I texted Ethan. Saw the video. We need to talk. Sent, and I waited, heart racing but face calm. 20 years of swallowing Michael's nonsense had honed my mask. Now it'd serve my revenge. As daylight filled my apartment, a war ended inside. Shame gave way to rage, rage to resolve. Michael thought me worthless, but he was. His arrogance, his downfall. My laptop glowed, notes spread like a map. 1 month, I thought. You've got 1 month, Michael. I need a week. My betrayal would be his ruin, and I'd build it step by step. I finished my coffee, plan clear. Michael would regret it deeply. That Monday morning in March 2025, I locked my Boston apartment door. It was 7:45, and I headed to Reynolds Carter Consulting, same as always, but with a new purpose. In my navy pantsuit, I wore my calm mask, perfected over 20 years of swallowing Michael Callahan's nonsense. Inside, a fire raged, rage, resolve, and cold revenge. Ethan had replied to my text, "Meet at the office." Then my heart raced, but my steps were steady. The plan was in motion. The office, the usual Monday buzz greeted me. Phones ringing, keyboards clacking, burnt coffee lingering. I dropped my bag at my desk, glanced around, co-workers buried in routine, no eyes on me. Michael's voice still echoed. Ada's a worthless idiot, but it didn't wound, it fueled me. I opened my laptop, reviewed my notes, Michael's shady deals, dodgy contracts, complaints. All in my hands, and today I'd use them. Ethan shot me a look from his corner desk, 24, quiet, sharp-eyed. Ada, he whispered, approaching. You saw the video, right? I nodded, yes. And I've got a plan. His eyes widened. What are you doing? He asked, cautious. Ending Michael, I said, voice cold and firm. But I need your help. He paused, then nodded. I'm sick of him too. What do I do? I smiled, not warm, strategic. I'd found my first ally. The plan was simple, risky. Leak documents to ruin Michael's reputation. First, Grayson Enterprises, his big client. Last year, he'd promised them something, failed. I'd fixed it with a report. I found the original, flawed version, proof of his negligence. Send this to Grayson, I told Ethan, showing the file. But anonymously. He frowned. If we're caught, we won't be, I said, sharp. I've cleaned his messes for 20 years. I know how to stay hidden. Ethan copied it to a USB, sent it from an anonymous company email. Short, clear. Michael Callahan's promises, here's the truth. My heart pounded, but my face stayed calm. Michael thinking me dumb was my edge. Next, stir internal gossip. I'd found a recording, him yelling, "Your fault," at the team last month. Leak this to the team, I told Ethan. Quietly, no trace. He nodded, okay. But be careful, Ada. Always am, I said, though a rush stirred, irreversible now. As the day wore on, unease spread. Grayson's reply called Michael to a meeting, tone harsh. The team's WhatsApp buzzed. Michael messed up again? The recording had reached a few, anger grew, source unknown. Michael stormed in, face grim, gray suit wrinkled, coffee in hand. "Ada," he barked, nearing my desk. "Why's Grayson pissed?" I shrugged. "Dunno, Michael," voice flat. "Maybe they found something." His eyes narrowed, but he said nothing, not suspicious yet. A triumph flickered inside, small, real. I'd shove his arrogance in his face, step by step. "Worthless idiot, huh?" He'd see I'd send him out before he could me. Ethan whispered, "It's working." "Just starting," I said, eyes on Michael. As the office noise swelled, my plan moved silently. Michael would regret it, and I'd make sure of it. That Monday in March 2025, the Reynolds Carter Consulting office in Boston felt like a calm before a storm. By 3 p.m., gray light from the sky cast faint shadows on my desk. In my navy pantsuit I sat, calm mask on, but a volcano erupting inside. My revenge against Michael Callahan was rolling. Grayson's leaked documents and the team's recording had stirred unease. Ethan, at his desk, glanced nervously, my ally but worried. Michael returned from Grayson, face pale. Gray suit crumpled, tie loose, empty coffee cup dangling. "Ada," he yelled, voice cutting the buzz. He stormed to my desk, eyes blazing. "Why's Grayson hung up on last year's report?" "What's going on?" I shrugged. "Dunno, Michael," voice flat, cold. "Maybe they noticed something." Lying, I'd started it, but he didn't know. His eyes narrowed. "Hiding something?" Suspicion in his tone. A rush rose inside, but my mask held. "What did I hide?" I said, calm smile. "I've fixed your reports forever, forgot?" Sharp words, subtle. He didn't catch it. He paused, grunted, and went to his desk. "I'll get to the bottom of this," he muttered, slumping. My heart raced, plan working, tension rising. Michael was sniffing, making it dangerous. Finn glanced. "Ada, careful," he whispered, shaky. Grayson's email was brutal, Michael's cornered. I nodded. "Good," eyes locked on Michael. "Let him be." "It's not over." The recording had spread. "Michael's your fault," rant now team gossip. Whispers grew. "Michael screwed up again?" "Why's Grayson mad?" No one pointed at me yet. But Michael's paranoia swelled. At his desk, he eyed the room sharply between phone glances. Then, voices from a meeting room. Michael arguing with Olivia Carter, the other partner. Door ajar, sounds spilling out. "If Grayson cancels, it's your fault, Michael." Olivia snapped. "Trust me, I'll fix it," he shot back, voice desperate. I smirked, silently. "Fix it, huh?" Grayson's leaked report had stripped his genius mask. Olivia's rage was a bonus. Michael was isolating. Ethan leaned in. "Olivia's suspicious too," he whispered. "But not of you." "Good," I said low. Let Michael sweat. Phase 2, I'd found emails of his empty conference promises. "Leak this," I told Ethan, showing them. "To Olivia this time." He frowned. "Too risky, Ada." "If we're caught, we won't," I said, eyes gleaming. 20 years in his shadow, I know his moves. Ethan sent it, anonymously, to Olivia. Michael's promises, proof. My heart raced, hands steady, my mask now my revenge's tool. Minutes later, Olivia's voice boomed. "Michael, what's this?" His mumbles followed, weak. The office air thickened, coworkers whispered, eyes on Michael. "Worthless idiot," I thought, mocking him. Who was the idiot, him or me? Not me anymore. Michael stood, approached me. "Ada," he said, low, threatening. "Something's up and you're too quiet." I met his gaze. "Quiet 'cause I'm working," I said, calm, sharp. "You should too." His eyes flared, but he said nothing. Back to the office. Ethan whispered, "He's close." "Let him," I said, a triumph inside. Tension rose, but I held the reins and he didn't know it yet. That Tuesday morning in March 2025, the Reynolds Carter Consulting office in Boston was a battlefield. Before 10, the air crackled with tension. In my navy pantsuit, I sat at my desk, calm mask on, a victory fire inside. My revenge against Michael Callahan roared on. Grayson's leaks, the team recording Olivia's emails had cornered him. Yesterday's office buzz, phones, keyboards, whispers, was my silent triumph's backdrop. Michael sat at his desk, phone in hand, gray suit more wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. Yesterday's clash with Olivia had rippled through. Grayson was reviewing their contract, the team grumbling against him. Olivia's shout echoed, "Michael, what's this?" His empty promises in her hands, my doing. Ethan whispered, "Ada, it's working," a mix of thrill and fear. "I know," I said, eyes on Michael. "But it's not done." Near noon, Michael stood, headed not to me but Olivia's office. Doors shut, voices leaked. "Olivia, it's a mistake," he said, desperate. "Mistake," she yelled. "If Grayson bails, we sink, and it's on you." His mumbles were faint, weak. I smirked, silently. Worthless idiot, huh? Who was useless now? His arrogance's bill was due. Post-meeting, Michael returned, face white. He approached Ada, voice low, shaky. "We need to talk." My heart raced, mask firm. "Sure, Michael," calm smile. In the meeting room, he shut the door, office noise gone, just us. "What's happening?" he demanded, slamming the table. "Grayson, Olivia, everyone's against me." "You know something?" Fear, not just rage, in his eyes, Michael Callahan, helpless for once. I shrugged, "Dunno," voice flat. "But Grayson's mad isn't surprising. Last year's report was trash. I hadn't fixed it, you'd be sunk." Sharp-veiled, he missed it. He paused. "Ada, if you did something," I cut in. "Did what, Michael?" meeting his gaze. "What the I done but clean your messes?" Lying, I'd started it all, but he couldn't prove it. He sank into his chair, rubbed his face. "I need to fix this," voice fragile. "Ada, help me." "I'm sorry for everything." I blinked, Michael apologizing to me. "Sorry," I said, mocking. "For calling me worthless idiot or planning to ditch me in a month?" His eyes widened. How do you know that?" he stammered. I smiled, cold, bitter. "Everyone hears everything, Michael. No secrets here." I stood, help, walking to the door. 20 years I helped, now you're on your own." I opened it, glanced back. He sat, head in hands, defeated. "Ada, please," voice pleading. "I regret it." A flicker of pity, gone fast. "Regret won't save me," voice hard. "You dug your grave." I returned to the office, door shut, his pleas behind me. Ethan looked. "What happened?" "He's sorry," I said, eyes gleaming. "Too late." Michael's despair sweetened my revenge, but victory wasn't full. Olivia's rage, Grayson's reaction, pieces falling into place. "Worthless idiot," I thought, mocking him. Who was the idiot, him or me? Not me anymore. Michael was falling, and I'd push him to the end. That Wednesday morning in March 2025, the Reynolds Carter Consulting office in Boston was chaos. Just past 9, Ada sat at my desk, navy pantsuit on, calm mask, but a victory song inside. My revenge against Michael Callahan hit its final move. Grayson's leaks, team recording, Olivia's emails had him teetering. Yesterday he'd begged, "I regret it, Ada, help." I'd refused. His time was up. Office noise, phones, keyboards, whispers, swirled like a storm. Then whispered, "Ada, Grayson news," eyes nervous, excited. I opened my laptop, an email. Grayson canceled Michael's project, ending the contract. Reason: lack of trust and professional failure. I smirked, silently. His arrogance, now a stamped failure. Olivia's shout rang. "Michael, get in here!" tone trembling with rage. He stood, gray suit a mess, face pale, steps reluctant. Everyone quieted, eyes on him. He entered, door shut, voices leaked. "Grayson's gone, Michael." Olivia yelled. "You sank us." His mumbles weak, once bold baritone, now a whisper. "Worthless idiot," I thought, mocking him. Who was useless now? Meeting brief, Michael emerged, shoulders slumped, eyes down. But not to his desk, to me. Ada, voice fragile. "You did this, didn't you?" Heart raced, mask held. "Did what, Michael?" Calm smile. "Grayson, Olivia, everything." I know. Fear and rage in his eyes, helpless mix. "Proof," I said cold. 20 years cleaning your messes, now you blame me?" Lying, I'd done it, but he couldn't prove. He paused, "I'm sorry," pleading. "I didn't mean to fire you, a joke?" I laughed, loud, echoing. "A joke?" Locking eyes. 20 years for you, fixed every mistake, built every win. You made me a punchline. I stood, "Regret won't save you," voice hard. "You wrote your end." He said nothing, back to the office, defeated. That afternoon, Olivia announced, "Michael Callahan is leaving." Silence, then whispers, shock, relief, curiosity. He packed a box, files, coffee mug. No help, once admired, now shunned. Ethan whispered, "You did it," eyes bright. "Yes," I said, peace inside. But not done, I'd finish my triumph. That night I found a job ad, another consulting firm, analyst role. Sent my CV, got an interview next day. Out of Michael's shadow, a fresh start. Leaving, I glanced at his empty desk, abandoned. Worthless idiot, I thought, not me, him. Revenge complete, Michael fell, I rose. Boston's cold air hit my face, but I was warm, free. 20 years weight lifted, my victory, my strength. That Thursday evening in March 2025, I sat in my Boston apartment, cool outside but a quiet, deep peace within. Michael Callahan's exit from Reynolds and Carter Consulting was yesterday, victory still fresh. Out of my navy pantsuit, in sweats on my leather couch. Phone on the table, Ethan's last text glowing. "Congrats, Ada." Coffee brewed, scent wafting. For the first time in 20 years, it felt like freedom, not burden. Yesterday, I'd watched Michael fall, leaving, shoulders slumped, gray suit a defeat flag. Grayson's cancellation, Olivia's fury, team's rejection, my plans work. Worthless idiot, he'd said, smug grin. Who was useless now? He'd lost his job, reputation, everything. Me? I'd taken my revenge, but it was a beginning. Boston's lights glowed through the window, city alive, now different. 20 years in Michael's shadow, writing reports, hiding mistakes, building wins. Missed birthdays, forgotten vacations, sacrificed for him. Worth it? I asked aloud, voice echoing. No, not worth it. Ethan's video, that 30-second stab, showed me I wasn't worthless, Michael was. Sipping coffee, I sank into thought. Revenge, sweet, but left a void. I'd been loyal, a fool, rushing to every command, fixing crises. His rare thanks, Ada, my reward, I'd burned out for it. That loyalty exploited, 20 years a punchline. How was I so blind? I muttered, setting the mug down. Blindness gone, I'd woken, and that awakening returned my strength. Last night, I'd gotten an interview, new consulting firm, analyst role. My CV shone, 20 years my light, not Michael's shadow. Worthless idiot, huh? I laughed, dry, bitter. Who was the idiot, him or me? Not me anymore. He'd planned to ditch me, I'd sent him out loud enough for all to hear. Victory wasn't just his fall, redefining my worth. Ethan crossed my mind. He'd sent the video, quiet, sharp, chaos-seer. I texted, thanks, Ethan. You woke me. Instant reply. You were always strong, Ada. Just needed to see. Eyes welled, but no tears. Ethan was right. Strength always mine, lost in Michael's arrogance, now reclaimed. Coffee someday, I added, set the phone down. More than an ally, maybe a friend. On the couch, eyes to the ceiling, cracks no burden now. Revenge done, Michael fell, I rose. New job, new start, 20 years wait gone. You're enough, Ada, I thought, voice firm. He'd made me a joke, I'd made myself a hero. Boston's lights streamed in, a voice rising. This is your story. This time I believed, my closure, my triumph. That Friday evening in March 2025, I sat in my Boston apartment, cold outside but a spring breeze lightness within. 2 days since Michael Callahan left Reynolds and Carter Consulting, victory's echo lingering. In sweats on my leather couch, coffee mug in hand, scent wafting, freedom's reminder. Phone on the table, Ethan's text glowing. Coffee tomorrow? 10 Porter Square. I smiled silently. A new start loomed, and I wasn't alone. Yesterday, I'd interviewed, new consulting firm analyst role. Navy pantsuit on, 20 years experience confident. We'd love you here, Ada, they'd said, offer letter today. Starting Monday, out of Michael's shadow, my own page. Worthless idiot, huh? Michael's words came, but I laughed, light free. Who was the idiot, him or me? Not me anymore. I'd felled him, raised myself. Boston's lights glowed, city-friendly now. 20 years loyal, writing reports, hiding errors, building wins. Exploited, a punchline. Finn's video woke me, revenge returned my power. Grayson's exit, Olivia's rage, team's turn, my work. Michael regretted. I'm sorry, Ada, help, I'd refused. His fall, my triumph. A knock. Surprised, no one expected. I stood, opened, Ethan, jeans, gray sweater, coffee bag in hand. Came early, he grinned. Couldn't wait for tomorrow. Laughing, come in, I said, wide open. In the kitchen, he set the bag down. Congrats gift, eyes bright. You took Michael down, Ada. Office buzz. I smiled, thanks to you, soft. No video, no wake up. He shook his head, no, serious. You were always strong, just needed a spark. You lit it. I paused, Ethan right. Strength mine, lost in Michael's arrogance, now mine. Coffee brewed, cups out, we sat, kitchen warmth wrapping us. Office news? I asked, curious. He laughed, chaos, he said. Michael gone, team relieved, some guess you. No proof. I winked, 20 years in shadows, no traces. Finn sipped, know what, voice low. I did something too. Surprised, what, brows up. I spread the recording first, then saw you, knew you'd do more. I pushed the team, they complained to Olivia. I laughed, loud, free. Ethan, I said, you're a hero. He shook his head, just an analyst. You? Legend. That night, post-Ethan, I lay on the couch, sealing cracks of victory map. Michael regretted, jobless, disgraced, paid for underestimating me. But the real end? Me redefining my worth. New job, Ethan's support, inner peace, 20 years wait gone. You're enough, Ada, I thought firm. Boston's lights streamed in, a voice rising. Your story. Fully mine, revenge, awakening, freedom.